Canto 5,
Chapter
Chapter 1.
1, yeah, and Canto 5, the activities of Maharaj Priyavrata. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudire nashtuprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevya bhagavati uttama shloke bhak, bhaktir bhavati naistiki. I'll be reading from Shloka 11 to 20. Text uh, Shlok 11 or text 11. Lord Brahma, the Supreme Person within the universe, said, My dear Priyavrata, kindly hear attentively what I shall say to you. Do not be jealous of the Supreme Lord who is beyond our experimental measurements. All of us, including Lord Shiva, you, Father, and the great sage Maharishi Narada, must carry out the order of the Supreme. We cannot deviate from his order. Text 12. One cannot avoid the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not by the strength of the severe austerities and exalted Vedic education or the power of mystic yoga or the physical prowess or intellectual activities. Nor can one use his power of religion, his material opulence, or any other means, either by himself or with the help of others, to defy the order of the Supreme Lord. That is not possible for any living being, from Brahma down to the ant. Text 13. My dear Priyavrata, by the order of Supreme Personality of Godhead, all living entities accept different types of bodies of birth and death, activities, lamentation, illusion, fear of future danger, and the and happiness and distress. Text 14. My dear boy, all of us bound by the Vedic injunctions to the divisions of Varnashram according to our qualities of work. These divisions are difficult to avoid because they are scientifically arranged. We must therefore carry out our duties of Varnashram Dharma like bulls obliged to move according to the direction of driver pulling on the ropes knotted to their noses. Excuse me. Dear Text 15. My dear Priyavrata, according to our association with different modes of material nature, the Supreme Personality of Godhead gives us specific bodies and the happiness and distress we achieve. One must therefore remain situated as he is, be the be conduct as he is, and be conducted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, exactly as a blind man is led by a person who has eyes with which he sees. Text 16. Even if one is liberated, he nevertheless accepts the body he has received according to his past karma. Without misconception, however, he regards his enjoyment and suffering due to the karma the way an awkward person regards a dream he had while he's sleeping. He thus remains steadfast and never works to achieve another material body under the influence of three modes of material nature. Text 17. Even if he goes from forest to forest, one who is not self controlled must always fear material bondage because he is living with six co-wives, the mind and the knowledge, and the acquiring senses. Even householder life, however, cannot harm a self satisfied, learned man who has conquered his senses. Text 18. One who is situated in household life and who systematically conquers his mind and five sense organ is like a king in his fortress who conquers his powerful enemy. After one has been trained in household life and his lusty desires have decreased, he can move anywhere without danger. Text 19. Lord Brahma continued, My dear Priyavrata, seek shelter inside the opening in the lotus of the feet of the Lord, whose navel is also like a lotus, and thus conquer the six sense organs. Accept material enjoyment because the Lord extraordinarily has ordered you to do this. You will thus always be liberated from material association and be able to carry out Lord's order in your constitutional position. Text 20. Sri Sukdev Goswami continued after thus being fully instructed by Lord Brahma, who is the spiritual master of the three word Privrata, his own position being inferior, offered obeisances, accepted the accepted the order and carried it out with great respect. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I rest here.
Yeah, thanks so much, Kishore Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So we'll offer with brief prayers and continue from there. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, another wonderful section of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we're in the fifth canto, first chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, where from the storyline I'll briefly mention and the overall lessons of today's section, and then we'll continue with the details of the verses. So we're reading from the 11th to 20th verses. Already 10 verses are done. What we heard was the context was uh, Maitreya Muni was speaking to Vidura, is continuing on the topic of Visarga, secondary creation, which is one of the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. And specifically, Parishit Maharaj asked him to elaborate more about Priyavrata. So, because remember in the fourth canto, Maitreya Muni described about the descendants of Swayambhu Manu, specifically the younger son, Uttanapada, and his descendants like Dhruv Maharaj, Prithu Maharaj, Prachitas, all that he described. And then now, uh, and then he briefly mentioned one verse about Priyavrata, who is the other son of Swayambhu Manu. So now this canto, first half of this canto will describe the Priyavrata's descendants we heard yesterday. And so Sukhdev Parishit Maharaj asked the question, how come Parishit Maharaj, who is Priyavrata, who heard instructions, nice instructions from Narada Muni, how did he get into family life again? Normally, when you receive transcendental instructions, you don't need to take up family life. And he got trained in Naistika Brahmachari also. Tell me, and is not family life is not usually helpful. It's like obstacle. Like that, he asked number one question. Number two, he asked, okay, let us say you took up the family life. Let us say you took the ruling of the kingdom. That's okay. But then how could you achieve the perfection of life? Like that, he was asking. So if you notice these questions, one of the theme is some people immaturely think that if you do family life, you cannot do spiritual life. If you do spiritual life, you cannot do family life. That's the immature thinking some people have. But in this particular section today, we'll hear from Brahma's instruction how these can be working together. Family life and spiritual life can go together. How we can still achieve perfection with family life. That's what he's explaining in a mature fashion today in this section. Lord Brahma is telling him. So, in response to that question, we heard that these are the questions here Parikshit Maharaj had. So, Sukadeva Goswami is narrating. So, I'll briefly mention the storyline some more. The storyline is Priyavrata was instructed by Narada Muni wonderfully, and because of that, he renounced the kingdom and he came to forest to do devotional service. That was the status of Priyavrata Maharaj. So now, uh, so Narada Muni is a great Acharya. That's he's following the instructions of Acharya nicely. Now, however, his father Swayambhu Manu came back to the forest to ask him to come back to the kingdom to rule. Why? Because Prachatas had a son Daksha, but Daksha went out in the forest to do tapassu so that he can have nice children according to the orders of their father Prachatas. So because there's no qualified king, that's why Swayambhu Manu came to the forest to request Priyavrata Maharaj, please come back to rule. But Priyavrata Maharaj is very hesitant because Narada Muni already told him, uh, engage in devotional service nicely in the forest like that. Now Swayambhu Manu is coming and telling him that please come back to the kingdom and rule the kingdom and continue family life like that. So at that dilemma, Lord Brahma personally comes along with personified Vedas, along with his other associates, Gandharvas. We heard so many different people came. Yeah. So now Lord Brahma was received by them yesterday, we heard nicely. They all got up from their seats, they offered obeisances and welcomed him with nice objects of worship. That much we heard yesterday. Now we're continuing from there. We're going to hear how Lord Brahma instructs Priyavata Maharaj to take up the order of his father and his own order to go back to kingdom and rule the kingdom instead. Yeah. So we'll hear about it. This is a very important section for us because one, we don't we understand how to lead family life while practicing devotional service nicely. That is number one principle we can learn from this section. That is very important. Second thing is we'll also learn that irrespective of all our circumstances, I'll have some problem, you will have some problem, you will have some problem in life. But irrespective of the situation, we can practice devotion service nicely. That also principle we can learn from this section. That's why we can pay attention to this. So we can learn those important lessons. Going to text number 11 now. Text number 11, Lord Brahma started speaking. He says, kindly hear attentively to me. He's saying, all of us, all of the living entities, including myself, Lord Shiva, or Narada Muni that you are seeing here, we all must carry out the orders of the Supreme. We cannot deviate from his order. That is the first point he's talking about. So now, interestingly, Prabhupada is describing Lord Shiva is also personally present there. And we probably, in sixth canto coming up, next canto, in few months, uh, is described there are 12 Mahajanas by Dharmaraja. What is his name? Yamadharmaraja describes there are 12 Mahajanas, 12 great personalities from whom we can know what is Dharma, what is Adharma, like that. So out of them, these four Mahajanas are already here before Priyavrata Maharaj. Who are the four Mahajanas there? Swayambhu Manu, his father, is a Mahajana. And then Narad Muni, his guru, he is a Mahajana. And then Lord Brahma, his father's father, our grandfather, is also a Mahajana. And Lord Shiva, who is his father's brother, he is also Mahajana. So in that sense, there are four Mahajanas there readily. And he's telling, we Mahajanas only cannot even get away from Supreme Lord's order. So everyone needs to follow Supreme Lord's order. Nobody can deviate from the order. That is the first theme he is speaking on. Okay, nobody can deviate from order. So Prabhupada writes a wonderful purport. Why is he telling nobody should deviate from order? He is following Narada Muni's order only to stay in the forest and do devotional service. Now he's telling go to family life and rule kingdom, and he's telling that's also order of Supreme Lord. Prabhupada is describing when pure devotees are fully connected with Supreme Lord in their heart. So Supreme Lord instructs us through the representative pure devotees. So when Swayambhu Manu, when Lord Brahma are ordering Priyavat Maharaj to go take up the kingdom and take up the family life, they are ordering with the inspiration of Supreme Lord Krishna. They're not just whimsically saying, I think you should do this like that. Because they're fully connected with Krishna, they understand what is the best service for Krishna at this particular point of time. So that's a very important principle to learn. So now that is why they are describing according to the order of Krishna. So it's not Brahma's own whimsical words, but it's the order of Krishna. That's the point they're making in this verse. Prabhupada also writes in the purport, hmm, and Krishna Girat. Another interesting line of thinking that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur illuminates in this section, as given by us by Burjan Prabhu in his study guide. So he's saying, we might think, oh, Krishna told to do devotional service. I'm doing devotional service. Now, why is Krishna sending Brahma and Swayambhu Manu asking me to go back to family life? Krishna is doing something wrong. Somebody may think like that. So, Prabhupada is clarifying, Vishwanath Chakravarti is clarifying that Krishna can never be at fault. Like how sun can put his sunlight and heat on a contaminated place where the urine is there. So that place will become purified. But then sun will not get contaminated. Similarly, Supreme Lord is free from any kind of contamination with the material modes. That's another point Prabhupada is writing in the purport. So then, um, yeah, the Prabhupada is emphasizing that Lord Brahma, Swayambhu Manu are pure devotees. That is why they are directly in contact with Supreme Lord. So that's why they are following the inspiration of Supreme Lord to give instruction to Priyavrata Maharaj in this circumstance. So that's why it is worthwhile for Priyavrata to accept Lord Brahma's order as the Lord desired, like that Prabhupada writes. Important principle. Okay. So first thing Brahma said is no one can deviate from the Lord's order. Even we great people, great Mahajanas, myself, Shiva, Narada, Swayambhu, we cannot deviate from Lord's order. Everyone should follow Lord's order. And Lord's order is coming through me, like that is describing. Now, text number 12 is continuing that line of thinking. One cannot avoid the order of Krishna, Supreme Lord. Even if you do, somebody does great austerities, somebody does lot of Vedic education, somebody does mystic yoga, somebody has lot of physical strength, lot of intellectual strength. So somebody is doing religion very nicely. Somebody has lot of material opulences, lot of money, lot of beauty, lot of influence. No one can defy the orders of Supreme Lord is describing because everything is under the control of Supreme Lord. So basically, somebody may say, oh, I'm doing this nice thing. I don't need to follow the order of Supreme Lord because I'm already a great rich person. I'm doing a lot of austerities already. So I don't need to follow this order like that, somebody may say. So Prabhupada is writing in the purport few important themes. First theme is telling is that both Narada Muni and Brahma are authorized to give instructions. There's a word Manishaya is used by Lord Brahma in this verse. Prabhupada is emphasizing on that word. So somebody may say, one pure devotee Narada Muni is saying, stay in the forest and do devotional service. Another pure devotee Brahma is saying, uh, go to kingdom and rule accept family life and rule the kingdom like that. So now, for an immature person, it might look different, opposite instructions. Do devotional service, take up family life. Now, by using the word Manishi, Brahma is emphasizing that you should follow the order of me to take, order of Narada Muni to take up devotional service, order of me to take up family life. So you can do both instructions together using your intelligence. That is what is discussing. So many times in spiritual life, we also learn this principle that sometimes we're caught up in thinking either this, either that. Sometimes we can do in devotional service both of them together, this and that, like that. This is called polarity thinking. We can avoid the polarity thinking and do both of them together. That intelligence Krishna gives us as long as we desire to do bhakti nicely according to the orders of a guru. Krishna gives us the intelligence to do many things together simultaneously, like that. So that's what Prabhupada is clarifying for us in the purport, that they're not mutually exclusive. Family life and divorce is not mutually exclusive. You can do family life, and by being unattached, we can continue devotional service also at the same time. That's the principle Prabhupada is giving to us in purport. So Prabhupada is writing, Vishyan, material affairs should be accepted without attachment, and everything should be dovetailed to the service of the Lord. Um, so if one accepts Krishna's service, family life is not harmful, Prabhupada is writing in the purport. So, and then Prabhupada is telling some Mayavadis, Brahmavadis, they think that, Mayavadis especially, they think this material world is false. It doesn't exist. It's not reality. So we bhaktas don't accept that logic. We say material world is real, but real in the sense that it's temporary only, not permanent, eternal, like that. So it's relative world. So what is wrong is using the material world and material things for our enjoyment. But what is not wrong is using the material world and material things in our possessions for using in service of Krishna. So this is one important theme that is coming up in the next set of verses. That means we can stay in family life, we can be in any situation where we are, as long as we are engaging ourselves and what we have, resources, in service of Krishna, then that can be the right position we can be in. That's the theme coming up in this section of verses. So 13th verse. So 11th verse he said, no one can defy the order of Supreme Lord. Even we great personalities are also following the Supreme Lord's order. And then 12th verse we said, no one can avoid the Supreme Lord's order. Even if he is great in austerities, even if he is great in religion, even if he is great in material opulence, like that he said. Now 13th verse is saying, Lord Brahma is telling to Prevata, the order of Supreme Lord, by the order of Supreme Lord, all living entities accept different types of bodies. For what purpose? For birth and death, for activity, for lamentation, for illusion, fear of future dangers, and happiness and distress. So we got this body according to the order of Supreme Lord only. So through the material nature. That means depending upon what desires I had and what activities I did in the past, I'm awarded a particular type of body by Supreme Lord through the agency of material nature. That is what is describing through the agency of Prakriti. So that means we're not independent. We're dependent on the order of Supreme Lord. That's the point Brahma is sharing with us here in this purport, in this verse. So, mm, so the what is the best course we can do is surrender to Krishna and act according to his desire. So one who desires so is liberated. So how do you know what is Krishna's desire? When pure devotees give us orders, that is the equivalent to orders of Krishna. That's what is telling. So we can act according to Lord's desire. That is the way we can act according to the order of Supreme Lord. Now going to text 14. So now he's emphasizing that Supreme Lord has established Vedic culture. Supreme Lord has established Varnashrama Dharma. So we should follow Varnashrama Dharma to satisfy Supreme Lord. That is the way we can perfectly serve Krishna in devotional service. Like that is describing. So that means Supreme Lord has created these four divisions: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra. These are called four Varnas. So also Supreme Lord has designed these four ashramas: Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasi. So by following them according to the guna and karma we have acquired in this life, we're following the orders of Krishna, like that is describing. So what is the ultimate goal of human life? To satisfy Vishnu. So without understanding the ultimate goal, whatever we are doing, we are disobeying the orders of the Supreme Lord, like that is describing. So now, um, so the Vedic directions, if you follow in one's life, regardless of our position, will be successful. That means I can take up my guna and karma necessitates me to take up Kshatriya duties right now and take up family life right now. So by following Varna and Ashrama principles for serving Supreme Lord, I will still do justice for my existence, which is the ultimate goal of life, to please Vishnu. Krishna will be pleased. Krishna will not be pleased only if I go to forest and do austerities. Krishna will also be pleased if I do grihastha ashram, if I take up family life and do my duty to protect the citizens as a king, and then do devotion service also at the same time. That's also Krishna will be pleased, like that he is telling. So now, in text number 15, Brahma is still speaking to Priyavrata Maharaj. He is saying, one must therefore remain situated as he is and be conducted by Krishna, exactly as a blind man is led by a person who has eyes with which to see. So, who's the uh, eyes here? Person with eyes who's guiding the blind man? Supreme Lord is guiding through the pure devotees in our life. So, how to act? So, he's saying, whatever situation we are in, whether we have a lot of problems with our wife, lot of problems with our husband, lot of problems with our boss in the office, we still continue our devotion service nicely. That's so we can serve Krishna, like that is describing. So the point is, in any circumstance of life, we follow the instructions of Krishna. That is the duty we have. So basically, instead of carrying away the conclusion Prabhupada is writing here, we must be satisfied in whatever position we are. By the Supreme Lord's mercy, we have some position right now. And we should try to engage ourselves in bhakti. Then our lives will be successful. By hearing and chanting about the glories of the Lord, our lives can be successful and elevated to the highest perfection, like that. So sometimes we think, oh, I have the office where I need to go every day to office, but that Prabhu doesn't need to go to office. Then I have two small children. I need to struggle so much. That Mataji doesn't have always big children, so she can do devotion service nicely. I cannot do devotion service nicely. Like that, we'll think. Instead of thinking like that, whatever position we are in currently, whatever status we are in currently, do the best we can with what we have right now, and that way we can progress in spiritual life, like that. So that is the way to progress in spiritual life, to please Krishna and grow in perfection, grow to perfection. Now, text number 16. He's saying, even one is liberated, uh, such a person doesn't accept the body. He has to accept the body according to his past karma. So, so person when he gets up from the dream, then he doesn't think dream is significant. Similarly, liberated person who got this body doesn't live in the bodily conception of life. He understands, I got this body because of my past activities. It's okay. I need to focus on what I'm doing now so that I can get the next spiritual body instead of material body. Like that he focuses, not in the bodily concept of life. So, what does such a person do? He performs activities for satisfaction of Supreme Lord, so that he doesn't get any more new reactions from these bodily activities, like that. That's what is describing in text number 16. In text number 17, so let us say you think staying in the forest and doing austerities is the best thing to please Krishna. So somebody may think like that. Then, but let us say my mind is not controlled, my senses are not controlled. Then even if you go to forest, then I'm only with my mind and senses only. I'm trying to see how to give enjoyment to senses, how to. I will be thinking about family life by staying in the forest. That's of no use. But instead, if you stay in the family life, but you are protected by a fortress of family life, then if you're controlled by your senses, if you're controlling your mind, then you can do devotion service nicely and go back to Krishna, like that. That's what is describing. That is our first first goal for us is to control our senses and mind. But how do we do that? By engaging our senses and mind in devotional service to Krishna. By doing that, then our senses and mind will become controlled. So wherever we are, doesn't matter. We don't need to run away to forest. Wherever we are, we can engage our senses and mind in service of Krishna. That's how we control our senses and mind. That's how we can serve Krishna and achieve perfection, like that is describing. So don't think that going to family life is inferior, staying in forest is best, like that. So as long as they are engaged in service of Krishna, we can achieve the transcendental position. Going to the next verse, 18th verse, he's saying one who's situated in household life and who systematically conquers mind and senses, five sense organs, knowledge acquiring senses, which is eyes, nose, ears, tongue, skin for touch, like that. So then, uh, staying in family life is like a king staying in a protective fortress. Fortress means where fort is there. That means enemies cannot come attack easily because I have a nice fort protecting me. Similarly, family life is like that for senses, so that we don't go run here and there and do sinful activities, like that. So then he says, after one has been trained in household life and his lusty desires have decreased, he can move anywhere without danger. Like he's talking about sannyas life. So basically, Prabhupada writes in the purport, Vedic system is with four ashramas. Brahmachari life, where somebody is trained to nicely to conquer senses and mind. Because somebody is trained to conquer senses and mind, then they can take up Grihastha life by marrying, and then they can still continue devotion service nicely. And then after some time, when the lusty desires are gone, then he can take up Vanaprastha life at 50 years or later. And then after that, sannyas life, then he can go on preaching. Because that time, even if some temptations come, he's not attacked, he is not tempted by them, because he's already trained to how to control senses, like that by staying in Grihastha ashram also. So that's what Prabhupada is writing in the purport, that we can follow Vedic culture and family life can be a nice place to practice devotion service. And the text 19, Brahma is speaking to Prevata. He's saying, seek shelter inside the opening in the lotus feet of the Lord, whose navel also is like a lotus. That way, by taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, you can conquer the six sense organs, mind, and the five knowledge acquiring senses. And then don't think, if I do material enjoyment, then I'll be lost. Accept material enjoyment that Lord has given you, because the Lord has ordered you to do so. You will thus always be liberated from material association, and you can carry out Lord's order in your constitutional position. Understand that you are servant of Supreme Lord always. And then if you carry out the orders of the Lord, you will not fall down, even in the midst of material enjoyment also. So, because Lord is giving this opportunity to become a king, naturally lot of money will come, lot of servants will serve you, a lot of enjoyment will come. But don't take that enjoyment of I'm meant to enjoy. I don't care about God anymore. I got already enough things. Why do you need to care about God? Don't think like that. So think you are eternal servant of the Lord and utilize whatever God is giving you resources in Krishna's service. That way you're enjoying, but you're enjoying in Krishna's service. So that way you can still achieve perfection. Don't think that that is mental enjoyment. Chi, 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 I don't want it. I cannot stay there. I have to stay in the forest only. Not like that. If Krishna has given some material opulences, we use that in Krishna's service. Krishna has given too much money, we give that money to propagate Krishna consciousness. But still, we engage in devotional service nicely, whatever situation we are. That is what is describing. This principle is also called as Yukta Vairagya. That means whatever Krishna is using, we utilize it in Krishna service favorably. So the last verse for today, 20th verse. Now Sukadeva Goswami is telling, Brahma told Prevata why to follow the orders of Krishna. Whatever I'm telling is from Krishna's inspiration only. So follow this order. And by taking up this, you will not deviate from devotion service. Because even family life, you can do devotion service. That's also service for you. You can do that as a service without attachment. So no worries. Please take it up, like that is telling. Now, Sukadeva Goswami is describing Prevata understanding that Brahma is superior to him He accepted the order by offering obeisances to him. And he wanted to accept the order, and he carried out the order with great respect. So we also similarly take up our Guru's orders nicely and sincerely follow it, wherever, whatever position we are in currently, like that. So it's the duty of the inferior to carry out the order of the superior with great respect. That's what Prabhupada is writing in the purport. So similarly, even somebody is a great devotee, you should follow the orders given in the parampara. So because even if somebody devotee is become acharya, guru, he still follows the instructions of the previous gurus. Why? Because he understands I am a servant of a servant of a servant of a servant of Supreme Lord. So I should follow the orders of my guru, like that. So that is the instruction Prabhupada gives in the purport for us. So this is a nice section where we heard how devotion service can be practiced in any situation you are in. Doesn't matter whatever drawbacks we have, doesn't matter whatever strengths we have, we can engage all of them in Krishna service. Even if we have a lot of appliances, we can engage them in Krishna service. If we don't have any, nothing also, we can do devotion service with whatever we have by offering water to Krishna, by offering prayers to Krishna. We can engage in devotion service somehow or other, always, by chanting the whole name of Krishna. Like that, in any situation of life, you can do devotional service. That's what we learned from this section. We'll pause there. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpataru besya kupasindu bevacha. Patitana pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Thank you so much, devotees, for your association. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, sir.